to part 5 of the mini train series. Part 5 is the wheel. Out of all the parts, the wheel is probably the hardest for students to draw. There is a lot going on. We have 3 different views, and we have to create the wheel, and then we have to add some features to it. So there is, like I said, there is a lot going on. Starting out, we have to get the wheel drawn. Then we'll add some features. The spokes. We'll add where scroll down the linkage arm, where that attaches, and so the linkage arm will attach the front wheel and the rear wheel using this feature here. But starting out, we're gonna use the revolve tool. And so we have the profile, we have dimensions. Like I said, it's kind of intimidating looking at it, but once you kind of understand what you're given, then it's fairly simple to draw. Looking through, there's some new things in our dimensions. The TYP here, that basically means, and we'll see it here, we see it down here on the degrees. That means that the other dimensions are the same. So, they don't give us the dimensions for each spoke here. What they're saying by that is that we can assume that all the way around they are the same dimensions. So we'll go ahead and get started. We're drawing this profile, and then we will revolve it, and then we'll add the features that, like I said, where the linkage peg will attach, and then we'll add our spokes and our center hole using extrude. So we'll use extrude to add materials for the linkage arm, extrude to remove materials for the rest of this. You can use hole for the center where the axle peg will go, or we can use extrude, either one. We'll go ahead and get started. We're going to start with the IPT, start 2D sketch, and then I'm going to use the XY plane. And like I said, the plane doesn't necessarily matter on this, but I know a couple of features that I have. I know from the center point of my wheel to the center point of this radius at the end, it is 1 inch, and so this wheel is kind of rounded. If you're looking at it, looking at the edge profile, it's rounded, and that's what we're drawing. We're drawing kind of that profile. So I'm going to draw, I know it is 1/4 inch wide, and then by 1 inch. And so I will draw, I'll draw that starting out. I'm going to draw a rectangle, 1 inch wide by 1/4 inch. And then I am going to add, now and there's several ways you can go about this. I'm going to add a circle, a 1/4 inch circle here at the end, and then I'm going to trim. And so now I have, and it, when you see this, so I tried to trim, and it popped up with this warning here. What it is I have dimensions on this, so I need to remove the dimensions, and then I can delete, or I can trim, either way. Now I have, like I said, I have the width here. I have this curved profile that is the edge of my wheel, and then I can start kind of adding features from that. And so from my center point, I know I have this 0.75, and that is basically it's a rectangle it is 0.125 wide. So I will just come at a rectangle, and then it's 0.125, tab 0.125 tall, and then it is 0.75 wide, so 0.75. And I'm wanting to keep the full 1/4 inch out here on the edge, and then it narrows down to 0.125. And then if we look at it where our hub is, or the center, it is 1/4 inch wide, and it is the full 1/4 inch tall. So we will add another rectangle, so 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch, and then I'm gonna remove some dimensions. Like I said earlier, we had the warning. Sometimes when you have dimensions, it will not let you trim. It won't allow it. So I'm going to remove the dimensions. Now I can kind of start seeing the shape that I want. So I will trim. I'm going to trim the center part here, and then I'm going to trim these 2 lines there and that line there. So now I see, if I were to revolve this, I have a rough profile of my wheel. Now you can see here radius. This is a fillet, 0.0625, and so you can see there's several areas that are that have fillet on them, and you can do the fillet after you revolve it, or you can go ahead and do it while you're sketching. So we'll do it while we're sketching. Select it 0.0625. Then you'll select the corners that you want filleted, and we'll come see what's going on here. We'll trim, and so now it looks a lot more like what my wheel should look like. So I'll finish sketch, and then I'm going to revolve. And like I said, I'm revolving this profile around the axis there. And you can see now I have starting to have something that resembles my wheel. So I will select OK. Now I'm going to change the view. So I'm going to select this as front, set current view as front. And so now make it a little easier to work with. And now I'm going to add where my spokes are. I'll go ahead and do that first. You can see in our drawing there that we have the spokes, and then we have what we have coming out for our linkage arm connection. So we'll draw these spokes on the back. So I'm going to rotate to the back, start 2D sketch. I'm going to project geometry, and kind of have an extra. Hit escape, we'll remove that, and now we'll look at our dimensions. So we know our center hole is 0.28 inches through. So we have 0.28 inch where our axle peg is going to go, and then we have basically 2 circles. And so we know the inside circle is 0.375 radius, and then the outside circle is 0.625. Again, that is radius. Remember, R is radius. Some dimensions that we are given were given diameter, some were given radius, so make sure you're careful with that. We'll get those drawn first. So we'll go to circle, 0.375 times 2, because we want our, when we draw using the circle tool, our dimension is the radius, or what we input is diameter. I'm going to go ahead and remove that geometry. Circle, the second one is 0.625 times 2. Hit escape. Again, let's double check here. So 0.625 times 2, and then our other one is 0.375 times 2. Like I said, we're given the radius, so we want to input the diameter, and then we have to draw some lines to create our spokes. So our first one is 30 degrees from, we'll start here, 15 degrees. We'll go from, and we'll draw it like that. So from X, we'll go up 15 degrees, and that'll be our first line. And then from there, we'll go another 30 degrees, and so on and so forth. So we'll and you kind of gotta pay attention to how your degrees is. So right now we're at 90, so we're doing 90 plus 15, enter, and then we're going to do 90 plus 45. So we're going to add the 15 and 30 together. And then I'm going to trim. So I'm going to remove the dimensions. And I'm going to remove some of. And what I'm doing, I'm just kind of cleaning up the work area here. So I'm going to trim. And so instead of drawing each spoke, which you can do that, and there's nothing wrong, and I will add this to our PDF here. We're going to use the circular pattern. And so what we can do is we'll select our geometry. I'm going to do circle. I'm going to select my center point, and I want it to go 360 degrees. We'll look and see how many spokes we have. So we have 6 spokes, and what that does is it will create based off of that geometry, and we select our like I said, our center point. What it'll create our geometry for us without having to draw each individual spoke. Now you can do that. It's a little more time consuming, and so we have that done for us. And then we will finish sketch, extrude, and we'll select the geometry. And we want to flip it so it removes material. And one thing I didn't add, and we'll do that now. So we could have done it at the same time. We'll do it now. We're going to add our circle for our axle peg. So that is 0.280. We'll double check, but 0.280. We could have done it at the same time. We'll finish, do the same thing, flip it where it will remove material. And now we have our center hole for our axle pegs. We have our spokes. And now the only thing we have to do is add our peg for our linkage arm. I call it a peg. There's actually a linkage arm peg that is another part, but it's where the linkage arm is placed in the assembly, and then our peg is inserted into that. So this is off of the front, and so we will start our sketch off of our front face. We're doing it off of this inset face here, so we'll make sure we're doing that. Now, one thing that you can do that I always find real helpful is I can remove it where I'm just drawing on that plane. So what I used is F7, and so we're drawing on this inset face here, and so I can remove everything that is in front of that, so to speak, and just draw. And so basically it's just kind of slicing it to the plane that we're drawing on, and so it makes it a little easier to see what we're drawing. And so we'll come back. It is a if we look at the top here, from the center point, the center to center is 0.7 inches, and then it is a 1/4 inch, and then so we'll draw this first part, the larger diameter first, and it's extruded 0.375 inches. So we'll get that drawn first, and then we'll draw the second part. So I'm going to project geometry, 0.7, enter. Yep. Let's try it again. 0.7, enter, and then it is a 1/4 inch circle, 125, and then I'm going to finish sketch. So I want to draw that first. I'm going to extrude it. We're going to extrude 3/8 of an inch, 0.375. So 0.375. And then we're going to draw the smaller attachment. So our linkage arm will fit around that, and then the peg will fit inside of it. So we'll have a couple more things to draw. That is a 1/8 inch diameter, and it extruded an 1/8 inch. And so we'll do start 2D sketch. We'll start it on that face. Project geometry. 0.25, or it's 1/8 inch, so 0.125. It's extruded 0.125. Okay, and then we'll start 2D sketch on that face. It is a 1/16 hole, so 0.0625, and then it is a 1/4 inch deep. So we'll do project geometry, 0.0625, finish sketch, extrude. Now this time we're flipping it, and then I'll double check it's 1/4 inch deep, so 0.25, and then we'll select OK. And so now we should have all the features of our axle peg. And so we'll go ahead and change our material to ABS plastic. We'll save it, file, save as, and like I said, this is part 5, and then we'll save it, and that is it. So like I said, we revolved it. We drew, we drew the profile of the wheel, revolved it, and then we extruded to remove the spokes, extruded for the center hole, and then we added the geometry for our linkage arm and peg. So thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the rest of our videos.